Hello, BookTube. I've got some mail for you today on an overcast but bone dry Saturday when rain was predicted all day long, all night long. No drop of rain, not a single drop of rain has fallen. And I am once again filming on different technology in a different setup, so I'm hoping all of this goes well. I've never done mail in this setup. This will be the last batch of mail, I would imagine, for the week. Most of the mail that I've received this week I have opened off camera. Many apologies for that. And this will also be the last, these will be the last books to arrive at Hyde Cottage at the end of an extremely book acquisitive week. Pile after pile of books arriving every day. Me going out and getting them from the Brattle Bookshop, in addition to them arriving here. So we'll see how the week finishes things up. None of these, there's a pile of packages here, none of them are big. There are no boxes, there are two behemoth books that I'm waiting for, and they're obviously not here. So, no idea what these things are, but I know those predictable Steve squeals are not here. So what have we got here? Oh, okay. The first one I chose drifted its way to the top, was the smallest package, and it's because it is the stereotypical slim volume of poetry. This comes out at the end of September. And it's at least by a poet that I really like, a poet that I think has a shot at being legitimately great, just like Paul Muldoon, who is on my nightstand. This is August Kleinzahler. This is his book, A History of Western Music. Ugly cover, but what do you expect? And then we have the pub sheet. And as we've gone over many times before on this channel, what is a publicist supposed to say about contemporary poetry? I think that August Kleinzahler is just about as good as a contemporary poet gets, but what are you supposed to say about their latest, 60-page collection of poems? Let's see what this person says. There's no one quite like August Kleinzahler. That is true. A poet whose honors include the National Book Critics Circle Award, the Lannan Literary Award, and the Giffen Poetry Prize. Notice what's missing there. I'm 100% sure that he notices what's missing there. For understanding the music that language can make. See what I mean? His ear, remarked a critic in the Washington Post, seems at times to have been shipped in from one of the moons of Saturn, and he hears possibilities in our daily language to which the rest of us remain incorrigibly deaf. Okay. All right, so it's not just the publicists who have a hard time. First of all, you're shipping just an ear? That's rather gross. And second, there are life forms in the clouds of Saturn, and they have ears. And third, incorrigibly deaf? So being deaf is a function of will? Never mind. For decades, Kleinzahler has not only been conjuring music out of verse, he has not been doing that. You can wave this thing in the air as much as you want. You're not going to hear a sound out of it. He's also been writing about it, devoting poems to John Coltrane and Annie Lennox, Whitney Houston's Power Ballads, and Mozart's The Magic Flute. And now we have a career... Oh, okay, so this is a career-spanning selection of August Kleinzahler's poems about music. Okay. All right, great. And he is the author of more than a dozen books of poems, and was born in New Jersey, and he now lives in San Francisco. Great, okay. Fantastic. Well, I don't know the feng shui strikes. Let's try to make this behave. Oh no, there's almost nowhere to put the books. I will work this out. As I go along, I will work this out. That's something to look forward to anyway. It's not for a while. I won't have to deal with it for a while. And August Kleinzahler, I think, tends to be a lot less elusive, a lot less intentionally obscure than Paul Muldoon. So probably I won't need to put his book on the nightstand. I've been slowly worming my way through the Paul Muldoon. I don't think I'll need to do that with this one, but that's good. That's two big names in poetry coming out this year. I think in the same month. So what is this next one? Oh no. Oh no, don't tell me. Okay, this next one is a double. With a huge amount of paperwork. What is all this paperwork? What is this? No, I don't want any of this stuff. No. Here. Okay, this is a double. Veronica Roth's new booklet, A When Among Crows. 60 pages. So same as the August Kleinzahler. So we've already seen this, but maybe there's some of you who are new. This channel just recently hit 17,000 subscribers, so some of you are obviously new. Let's see here. Pain is Demeter's calling. His family is one in a long line of hunters who sacrifice their souls to slay monsters. Now he's tasked with a deadly mission. Find the legendary witch Baba Yaga. To reach her, Demeter must ally with the ones he's sworn to kill. Pain is Allah's inheritance. A fear-eating Zamora with little left to lose, Allah awaits death from the curse she carries. When Demeter offers her a cure in exchange for her help, she has no choice but to agree. Together they must fight against time and the wrath of the Chicago underworld. But Demeter's secrets and his true motives may be the thing that actually destroys them. So it's an elegant little thing. I confess I haven't got to the other copy that I have. Now I have two. I can't imagine. I find it hard to imagine that there would be a Veronica Roth fan watching this channel. But if there is, I mean, like I said, there are a bunch of new people watching. If there's a Veronica Roth fan out there, I now have a double of this book. And the giveaways on this channel are a little bit odd. Giveaways from the Brattle, fine, well and good. But books coming to me in the mail from publicists under the aegis of a possible review for review consideration, I like to keep the review consideration part. So if there's one of you out there who is a Veronica Roth fan and wants to try their hand at reviewing this book, I don't know if any of the paperwork that I got gives me the date on it. Does any of it give me the date on it? Oh, all right. Yeah, this is out already. This is out already. No, it's not too late at all, by any means, to write a review of this, and it's not a long thing, so it won't bog down your reading schedule. But if you meet those criteria, if you're if you're interested in this, you're not going to have to learn Veronica Roth cold. And if you're interested in trying your hand at reviewing it, then let me know. I now have 2 copies. All right, let's see. This next one is nominally a box, but it's so tiny. It hardly qualifies. Spinoza certainly is not going to be in here. And it has no pull tab, so it is requiring me to destroy it. I actually have to destroy the package in order to get at what's in it. Great. Okay, fantastic. All right. Here, let's destroy this package. That's great, because apparently your office has never heard of a manila envelope. Just put it in a manila envelope, mail it to me. But, no. All right, what have we got here that was worth all that? Oh, we don't want that. That is an invoice. Okay, this comes out in September. Oh, okay. All right, well, no, this is actually worth it. This is Frog Day. A story of 24 hours and 24 amphibian lives by Marty Crump. That's not what it's going to look like. Of course, I don't know why I'm hanging it up to you there, because this is a very advanced copy. And this is illustrated. The illustrations are by Tony Angel, and they are black and white sketches. Quite good. Black and white sketches all throughout. So I'll just read from the back. This will be on the dust jacket of the hardcover, which is going to be $18. Okay, $18 for 200 pages that are illustrated? I think that's a pretty good deal. In this short book, celebrated biologist Marty Crump leads readers on a worldwide field trip in search of frogs. Each chapter of the book covers a single frog during a single hour, highlighting how 24 different species spend their time. Oh, that is wonderful. Our day begins at midnight in Indonesia with the rustle of leaves above. It's not a bird, but a Wallace's flying frog, using its webbed feet and emerald skin flaps to glide through the forest canopy. In the early hours of the morning, we hear a horned marsupial frog bopping and a wood frog quacking to attract mates, much as we do here on BookTube. At 6 o'clock in the morning, beneath a streetlight in Honolulu, we meet a corpulent, invasive cane toad slurping insects, and sometimes snakes, lizards, turtles, birds, and mice. At noon, we watch parenting in action as an African bullfrog bulldozes a path through the mud to free his tadpoles from a drying pond. Oh, I'm in love with this thing already. Fantastic. Okay, now why do I know Tony Crump? That is such a familiar name. I mean, it's such an unusual name. Martin Crump. He's an adjunct professor of biology at Utah State and Northern Arizona universities. Oh, he's not. Marty is a she. She has been a herpetologist for more than 50 years, working with tropical amphibians to study parental care, reproduction, territoriality, cannibalism, and tadpole ecology. But I know her from a book. She is the author or co-author of 14 books, including A Year with Nature, Eye of Newt, and Toe of Frog, Adder's Fork, and Lizard's Leg, both also published by the University of Chicago Press. Okay, A Year with Nature, maybe? Is that it? I'm gonna have to look and see. I'm sure. I mean, you don't get Marty Crump as a name of an author very often. I keep showing you this thing when this is nothing. There's no sign here. There's also no sign. There's no paperwork, and there's no sign in the book of what the finished copy is going to look like. Ordinarily, on the back bottom, there might be a little thumbnail of the book, but not in this case. But a little book following frogs throughout 24 different species of frogs throughout 24 different hours of the day. That is an inspired idea. Great, fantastic. So we still have barely 200 pages. So let's just barrel on here to this next one. What have we got here? Okay, well, this is a normal-sized, ordinary book. This is coming out in October. This is by Jeff Jarvis, and it's called The Web We Weave, from the great folks at Basic Books, who have not been letting me down. They just have not been letting me down. Not in the better part of a year. Why we must reclaim the internet from moguls, misanthropes, and moral panic. Okay. All right. Let's see. I don't have a sheet for this, so we'll just read the back. The internet, again. Okay. Can we adopt an industry standard? Can we remember grade school lessons? Remember grade school? Remember your grade school lessons? What determines when a word is capitalized? If it's a proper noun, it's capitalized. That's what determines whether or not a word is capitalized, whether or not it's a proper noun. What makes it a proper noun? When it's identifying a particular thing, as opposed to a general class of things. Bookcase will never be capitalized. Presidential bookcase, perhaps one located specifically in the Oval Office, might be capitalized. Can we remember that? Can we remember grade school? There aren't two internets. There's only one. So if you're talking about the internet, you capitalize it. I thought it was bad enough that the God-bothering little manuals that I have to review every day often don't capitalize the word Bible. But the internet is just one thing. It is a proper thing. When you talk about it, everyone knows what you mean. They don't say, oh, which internet do you mean? Anyway, so I guess the internet is not going to be capitalized throughout this book. That drives me nuts. The internet stands accused of dividing us, spying on us, making us stupid, and addicting our children. In response, the press and panicked politicians seek greater regulation and control, which could ruin the web before we are finished building it. The author in this book is convinced we can have a saner conversation about the internet. Examining the web's past, present, and future, he shows that most of the problems that the media lays at the internet's door are the result of our own failings. Shocking. The internet did not make us hate. We brought our bias, bigotry, and prejudice with us online. That's why even well-intentioned regulation will fail to fix hate speech and misinformation and may instead imperil the freedom of speech the internet affords to us all. That is demonstrably false. It is entirely possible to radicalize someone. Yes, we all have hatreds. Yes, we all have implicit biases. Yes, we all bring those to the internet. Although I don't know about that word bring anymore. If you have young kids, they have never known a single moment without the internet. They didn't bring anything to it. They're growing up with it. Those of us who remember the world before the internet, sure, we brought those things to the internet, but that lets the internet off the hook, and it lets the architects of the internet off the hook. It is shaped to sharpen and create outrage, because outrage increases clicks, it increases traffic, it guarantees eyeballs. That's intentional. It's not like you brought all of that to the internet. How many of you have had people radicalized by stuff they see online? That happens all the time. Anyway, once we understand the internet for what it is, a human network, no, it's the human network, so it gets a capital letter. We can reclaim it from the nerds, pundits, and polls who are in charge now and turn our attention where it belongs, to fostering community, conversation, and creativity online. Okay, well, pundits and politicians are clueless about the internet, just don't have any idea about it at all. And pundits, they're fairly easy to spot, and I think the internet would be a barren wasteland without nerds. You're not trying to get rid of the nerds from the internet, are you? What would that say about BookTube? We'd all be doomed. We have the nerdiest habit in the world. But I like the idea of fostering community and conversation and creativity. That can be done. Amply done, even with the internet the way it is now. That is easily possible to do. This book offers an antidote to today's pessimism about the internet, outlining a bold vision for a world with a web that works for us all. Okay, little bit of Communist Party creeping in there that I'm not particularly liking, but I like the sentiment, the overall sentiment. So who is Jeff Jarvis when he's at home? A longtime journalist, well, nobody's perfect, and leading expert on the internet. Never heard his name before. He blogs at buzzmachine.com, co-hosts and podcasts This Week in Google and AI Inside, and has written for The Guardian, The Atlantic, The Nation, and Business Week. And is the author of 5 books, including The Gutenberg Parenthesis and What Would Google Do? And he also lives in New Jersey. He lives where August Kleinsteiler had the good sense to escape. Okay. All right. Okay, the web we weave. A better future for the internet. A subject that literally affects us all. Then the biggest package. This is the heaviest one. I'm not equating girth with satisfaction, mind you. But it would be nice if I could get a nice late May or early June finished copy. That would be really nice. Okay, that's another invoice. I don't want that. Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. Oh, this is lovely. All right, I don't have a date for this thing, but this is by G.R. Berridge, and it is called Outpost of Diplomacy, A History of the Embassy. How's that for a study? Don't think I've ever read A History of the Embassy. I don't have a sheet for this, so we'll just read the dust jacket. This is Reaction Books, which is distributed, I think, by the University of Chicago Press. So this might not be in your bookstore. And your library might have flown under their radar. You might have to order a copy. But this can be fascinating. The subject of embassies can be fascinating. This book traces the evolution of the embassy from its ancient origins to its enduring presence in the modern world. Beginning with the embassy's precursors in antiquity, this book explores its emergence on the cusp of the Italian Renaissance, its pinnacle during the 19th century, and its navigation through the challenges of 20th century conference diplomacy. The author investigates how this European institution adapted its staffing, architecture, and communication methods to changing international landscapes, including the tumultuous wars of religion and encounters in East Asia. He also describes the expansion of the embassy's responsibilities, such as providing diplomatic cover for intelligence operations, infused with vibrant anecdotes of remarkable individuals. That's what I'm hoping for. There's stories here. Oh my God. Just the stories I know from the history of American embassies could fill a book 3 times this size. And influential family dynasties. This is a compelling exploration of the embassy's rich history. And it's got, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell in this new feng shui, but it's got illustrations all throughout. They're not just in one inset in the middle of the book. They're all throughout, which is great. So who is the author when he's at home? We're having a fairly good run here. G.R. Berridge is Emeritus Professor of International Politics at the University of Leicester and a Senior Fellow of the Geneva-based Diplo Foundation. The University of Leicester. So the international politics at the University of Leicester. Okay, I'm trying to remember something's nagging at me about that, and I'm not getting it. He was an associate editor of the Oxford Dictionary of National Biography, to which he still contributes, and his most recent book is Diplomacy, Theory and Practice. Okay, which has gone into 6 editions. Yikes. Okay, why is that? Is it a textbook? I wonder, is it used as a textbook? Okay, associate editor of the Oxford Dictionary of National Biography, to which he still contributes, but I mean, that's great. That's a huge accolade. But what did you contribute? What did you contribute to the Oxford Dictionary of National Biography? Whose life did you write or work on? That's a huge honor. I'd love to know the names. I wonder if they were diplomats. Anyway, then we have this last package, and then we'll be done with the final mail acquiring of the week, since tomorrow is Sunday. So Steve will not be gallivanting on Sunday. Let's see here. Okay, that is not anything here. Let's just see we'll just look at the book here. This is going to be a $20 hardcover. It's a novel by Frank Bergen called Jesse's Ghost. Rather subtly designed type thing there. I rather like the look of this. The back is covered in blurbs, including one from Jhumpa Lahiri. So let's see what this is. I don't actually know what this is. Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, the inside does check. It has a blurb from Peter Mathiasson. Everybody loved Jesse. Boys wanted to be him or beat him, and girls wanted to be with him. In California's Central Valley, where fist fighting was a noble sport and drinking and sex were rites of passage for teenagers, Jesse was the toughest kid in the valley, until he was murdered by his best friend. This book is a powerful novel about a man haunted by the crime he committed decades ago, and the realization that the ghosts of his past will always haunt him. These are the sons and daughters of the people portrayed in Steinbeck's The Grapes of Wrath. Dust Bowl descendants who came of age when toughness, hard work, and loyalty defined what it meant to be a man in America. Through the chaos that surrounded him, in the risks he took, and despite the mistakes he's made, Jesse pursued the American dream. His friend Sonny, in the moving, funny, and tragic story he narrates in Jesse's Ghost, seeks a new life and redemption. I thought Jesse died. And I assume Sonny is the best friend who killed him. It says Jesse was the toughest kid in the valley. Emphasis on youth. So how did he take risks and pursue the American dream if he was just a kid? Or does the book maybe have him live on in some way? Okay, well, it's a finished copy, so I'm assuming that it's out now. That sounds really intriguing. Let's find out who the author is when he's at home, since we're reading about authors. Frank Bergen was born in Ely, Nevada, and grew up on a ranch in Madera County in California's San Joaquin Valley. And he is the author of Wild Game, The Temptations of St. Ed and Brother S., Shoshone Mike, and he is the editor of The Wilderness Reader and the Journals of Lewis and Clark. I wonder if I know his edition of the Journals of Lewis and Clark. I bet I do. Okay, fantastic. Not 100% sure why I'm getting this, but it sounds really good. I'm definitely curious to know. And whoever wrote the dust jacket here, and I'm assuming it was the author, that line about these being the descendants of the people portrayed in The Grapes of Wrath, that is gold. That is absolute gold. If that doesn't land you, you're not landable. Fantastic. Okay, well, there you go. That wasn't a bad mail haul. Wasn't a huge amount. Wasn't a sloping pile. I got a lot of sloping piles of books this week. I'm all set for this week. So this is good. So we have a novel, Jesse's Ghost. We have a history of embassies. I'm assuming this is out already, but that is just fascinating to me. We have The Web We Weave, a new vision for the internet. And probably an extensive postmortem about how it got the way it is, how it got so screwed up. Then Marty Crump, Frog Day, an illustrated little book following frogs all over the world through 1 hour of their busy, busy day. Among the Crows, When Among Crows, by Veronica Roth. This is a double of a slight fantasy novella. Yours for the mailing, provided you meet all of my extensive criteria. You have to care about reviewing this book. You have to want to review it. You have to be willing to try to review it. It is a new release. It is for review. It's not like a book I hoover up at the Brattle that I can just send to you. And you have to know where you live. A big bar to cross. You have to know where you live. You have to be able to give me an accurate mailing address for your address somewhere in the contiguous lower 48 states of the United States of America. In other words, if you say Plainville, and I sent it to Plainville, and it doesn't get there because you didn't name a state and you didn't name a zip code, I'm not going to try 2 more times. I'm not going to try again. I'm going to put your name in a little book. So, the usual exhaustive criteria. But if you feel like giving it a try, I'd be happy to put it in the mail to you. And then finally, a collection of music-themed poems by one of our greatest living poets, August Kleinzeller. Fantastic. also well down the line. And ironic, because this is just about half of my nightly page count for reading. So this would not be a whole night. This would get me until 3 a.m. I won't, of course, be doing that. In fact, well, I will read Jesse's Ghost tonight, and I'll read Outpost of Diplomacy. Maybe When Among Crows. Maybe I will. I'm not really in the mood right now for fantasy, and I'm not a big fan of this author. But Outpost of Diplomacy and Jesse's Ghost, almost certainly, and they together here are also barely anything. That's a little over 90 minutes reading, so I it's not going to be a heavy duty night, and that's good, because I have a lot of books that I got all week that I've been dipping into fairly a lot in the last few days. So there you go. That is the end of book acquiring on this channel for this week. We will take a well-needed breather tomorrow and then begin again on Monday. So I'll wrap this up for now. I'll see you then. Thank you, BookTube.